The new Pokémon Horizons episode just dropped character reveal after character reveal after character reveal. It had fans going crazy and speculating on so many things, but it also left me personally really frustrated with one character in particular, and I'm not seeing many people talking about it. So let's cover all of those topics in today's review video for episode 117. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and now let's dive into it. At the beginning of the episode, some of our heroes are helping Briar with studying Pogogo, and it's quite funny how Carmine, Carbon Dioxide, whatever her name is, how she seems to get really jealous of Liko being closer with Briar, and Liko keeps unintentionally egging it on. Oh man, if only Carmine had a brother connected to Terapagos who she could put with Liko, so that then she could have Briar all to herself. If only Carmine had a brother. Oh, wait. She literally does, but he just doesn't seem to exist in the Pokémon Horizons anime for some reason. Seriously man, where is Kieran? I'm getting impatient. Bring him to us, writers, I beg you. Oh wait, I guess Kieran isn't necessary after all, because Dot's Gimmighoul gives Carmine a new job to focus on, hunting down coins for it, through the method of possession as Gimmighoul often does. That eventually leads to Carmine and Dot having a friendly training battle, Gimmighoul vs Sinistcha, and man, I have a newfound appreciation for the Pokemon Sinistcha lately, because right now I'm kind of addicted to drinking matcha for the first time in my life. Anyway, Gimmighoul vs Sinistcha was more of a silly, goofy gag battle than a proper battle. The two of them were just mucking about with jump scare after jump scare after jump scare. It was kind of as if they were playing 50-20 mode in Ultimate Custom Night. And look, I can't deny the fact that it was really funny to watch, but unfortunately this is kind of where my problems began. This entire sequence really made me realise just how dirty Dot is being done in the Blueberry Academy arc. Of course, Roy has his training with Drayton, Ult has his training with Lacey, Liko has her stuff with Briar and Terapagos and Anne and Hattrem, but then Dot on the other hand? What exactly is Dot doing here, dude? She isn't training under any of the Elite Four members, all of her battles with wild Pokemon have been off-screen, all of her time with Penny has been off-screen too, so in conclusion, Dot is just stood around at the Blueberry Academy doing nothing. Doing naff all if you're British. And now on top of that, she doesn't even get a proper training battle? Her only battle against Carbon Dioxide is a jokey gag battle? I dunno man, it just feels like Dot is being done so dirty here. No training, no proper battles, no sign of her getting stronger. It hurts especially because Dot was one of the best characters in the whole of Horizons before the time skip. But now it just feels like the writers are only keeping her around for her to do nothing. I really think that Quaxwell's reaction to that battle portrays my feelings to a T. I really miss when Dot was such a core part of the group, back when her development was so great and focal, back when she was the strategist who helped our heroes win all of their huge battles. And to be honest, this issue has been a thing for Dot ever since the time skip happened. I can only name one, maybe two significant things that Dot has done since the time skip, and I really hoped the Blueberry Academy arc would get her back on track, but now it seems we're already leaving the Blueberry Academy in just a few episodes, so we might not even get the chance. Like bro, pairing her with Amaris was right there. And I only say all of this because of how much I love Dot as a character, okay? But on a more great and exciting and hype note, after the battle, Carmine tells Dot that she looks like her younger brother. Finally, dude! Thank you, thank you, thank you! Kieran exists in Pokémon Horizons! They finally confirmed it! They finally mentioned him! I'm genuinely so happy. He's like my favourite Scarlet and Violet character, and I know it's only a brief mention and maybe it won't even lead to anything, but I'm just relieved that he exists. And Carmine is so right, by the way. Dot and Kieran do look insanely similar, especially their hair. I never really noticed. Anyway, meanwhile, Ult and Lacey begin having their battle, but Lacey's Excadrill is just on another level. It counters every attack and resists Sablei's Power Gem, and then what made me laugh is that Lacey begins quizzing Ult mid-battle, and every time he gets the answer wrong, Excadrill hits hard. It all ends with Excadrill terastallizing into a Fairy type, which, by the way, reminded me that Lacey is a Fairy type specialist. For some reason I thought she was a Steel or Electric type specialist all this time. And then Excadrill's beautiful Fairy type Terra Blast destroys Sableye. And this is incredibly random, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I love that Excadrill beat Sableye with a Fairy-type move. It reminds me of back to my childhood in the 2000s, because when I was a kid, my older brother told me that Sableye is the strongest Pokemon of all time, because it was a Ghost and Dark-type, and back then they had no weaknesses. And then of course the Fairy-type became a thing in Generation 6, and finally gave Sableye a weakness at long last. So it kind of feels like a little unintentional portrayal of that memory for me. Anyway, yeah, Ult got absolutely smushed by Lacey, so he realizes maybe he should actually do Lacey's quizzes to get stronger. He needs to lock in for once. And that builds a really funny contrast, because Roy, on the other hand, he's taken Drayton's advice from the previous episode very literally. He's laying around, chilling with his Pokemon on the beach, doing nothing, but I for one love to see that, man. I think it's gonna lead to a rematch with Drayton, a Crocalor evolution, and Roy getting back to being the character he used to be. The next question in Lacey's quiz is about Captain Pikachu, and Ult keeps trying but still failing even after manhandling the little guy for answers, and he ends up getting shocked in a way that feels very reminiscent of the Pokegirls at the beginning of every series. Man, we've got to find a new word for Ash's female travelling companions. Pokegirls feels way too icky to me. So after failing at Lacey's quiz over and over, and after meeting Drayton's Dragonite, Ult tells Lacey about how he wants to be friends with his Dragonite, and that surprisingly results in Dragonite revealing itself. Ult, Lacey, Dragonite and Excadrill then have a heart-to-heart conversation, with Ult talking about how his father entrusted Dragonite to him, and Lacey comparing that to how she's raising her Excadrill because of her father who's a gym leader. You heard it right, folks. In the last episode, we got a Drayton mention, and now in this episode, we're getting a Clay mention. Man, I find that exciting. Clay officially joins the small squad of characters to exist in both Ash's anime and Pokémon Horizons. It's a really brilliant idea to make Ult and Lacey bond over their fathers entrusting Pokemon to them. Massive respect for whoever thought of that in the writing team, because I didn't predict it at all. I'm gonna headcanon that Lacey's Excadrill is the child of Clay's Excadrill, because not only is that super sweet, but also thinking that this Excadrill could be the descendant of a Pokemon that Ash battled in the past. That's so cool, dude, I love it. Lacey then presses Ult on what his real, true reasons are to want to become stronger, and eventually Ult confesses that it's because he wants to fight for other people, to protect other people, something that he feels he failed to do against the 6 heroes. But Lacey helps Ult come to the revelation that trying to become the strongest for other people, that means he already is fighting for other people, and that was a really nice breakthrough for his character. It also leads to him and Dragonite connecting and bonding on a new level, so then when a giant angry Alolan Exeggutor attacks, who I think is probably a paid actor, Ult and Dragonite work together amazingly, while also using what Lacey taught them about observation last week, and yeah, they put all of it together to defeat Exeggutor effortlessly. Ult and Dragonite are bonded now, you love to see it, dude. So overall, I definitely have some positive and some negative opinions on this episode, but what I want to say first, I find it interesting that despite the Blueberry Academy being a super battle-focused school, it actually feels less like our heroes are training to get stronger traditionally, and more like they're learning about themselves and about their Pokemon as people. Like, rather than battle development being the focus like we expected, the focus instead is kind of on their personal character development. Roy is learning to be more relaxed, Ult is learning more about himself and Dragonite bond, Liko is probably realising her mistake with how she spoke to Hattrem. The focus isn't on serious competitive battling and training like I expected. That's a surprising twist, dude, but I'm not against it. Overall, I really enjoyed everything going on with Ult and Lacey here. The way they bonded over their fathers, and the way that led to Ult's revelation, in turn leading to him and Dragonite bonding to a new degree, that was handled really well. I still do kind of wish on a surface level that Ult's Pokemon wasn't another Dragonite, after we had 3 main Dragonites in Pokemon Journeys. But that's not really an issue with this episode. I loved the Clay mention, the Kieran mention, and carbon dioxide was hilarious, and I thought some of the facial expressions that Lacey pulled were so funny. I do have to admit though that everything to do with Dot, Liko and Briar in this episode did kind of disappoint me. I've already spoken enough about the Dot stuff, so I won't drag that on anymore, but for Liko and Briar spending so much time on their research into Terrapagos, just for there to be no revelations or reveals or answers or anything interesting, that felt a bit weird to me, you know? I would have preferred seeing brief glimpses of Liko and Dot training hard too, like Ult and Roy were, rather than them just standing around all episode watching Briar dilly-dallying. But regardless of that, I still did enjoy the episode overall. Let me know your thoughts on episode 117 in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe too if you enjoyed. We are so close to 150k subscribers, so I'd really appreciate it. I also make YouTube shorts now regularly too, so go check those out. And thank you so much to all of my incredible channel members like Fizz, Toten, Juscadia, Not Minnie, Hope, Melissa, Shareborn, Pokesan, Jay. I really do appreciate you guys. And yeah, on that note, thank you all so much for watching, and best wishes until we meet again!